Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and I've scoured all of the social media, H's replay, all the Twitch sites and all the things, and I've tried to, get you guys some decks that you could take to climb to legend, diamond, gold, whatever it is you're after, whether it be standard or wild. We have the 10 best decks so far, and yeah, a lot of them are very similar to what's been going on before the mini set came out, but I have a couple bonus recommendations thrown in there for both standard and wild that might be a little bit more spicy to try out. And if you enjoy the content on the channel, you want to support the channel, please hit the sub button down below, only if you feel like I've earned your subscription. Give the video a like, it helps us out a ton as we are on the road to 69,420 subs. It would just be nice. And as a quick disclaimer, it's only been a couple days since the mini set came out. There could be a balance change in a few weeks, and the meta has not settled whatsoever, so craft at your own risk. You never know what's going to happen. At least these first 5 decks are pretty safe bets, starting off with the talk of the town, Evolve Shaman, which is already a tier 1 deck before the mini set came out. But, well, this card, Blazing Transmutation, has put it over the top, where it's basically bugged right now, where you get Gold Shard Null out, sometimes on turns 2, if you have the coin to play Schooling on 1, and you can discover the thing to evolve into, right? It's discover, not really the evolve effect, and it turns into Neptulon. And you can also get Thaddius, which is also absurd, and yeah, you could do absolute scams. It is more of a high roll deck. Scams won't always happen, but there are some consistent tools to the deck, mid-range tools like Command of Neptulon, Prescience, Slug the Gulper. You can cheat out your big minions with your Shadow Hunter Vol'jin, and you got the hero card in here. But overall, very similar to the deck before the expansion. It's just this card is absolutely busted. Next we have, again, all these decks are going to seem very similar because, I mean, it's the mini set. It's the last mini set of a standard rotation. Unless it's got a Kazakhstan, it's probably not going to spice things up that much. But Deathlight was a big winner from this mini set for the next 2 decks, both featuring Construct Quarter. This card I think will get nerfed. I love it. It's Deathlight and all of that, but a 3 mana location, destroy a friendly minion, so you get a corpse out of that. Great with Death Rattles. You get a 4/5 with Rush. 3 Yetis for 3 mana. It's absurd. And yeah, it's made people now put in Foul Egg, as it's an undead that creates another undead, which is of course really good with your Vizier and all of that. You still have the late game finish in here, Lord Marrowgar, Grave Strength, but overall this location has just put this deck, which was already really good before the mini set, like absolutely over the top. There's probably no better time to play Deathlight, at least so far in standard, than now, just because of that location. Same goes for Frost Deathlight. This was the one rune I was like, is it gonna make the cut? But yeah, it's just so good with everything, whether it's just your hero power, you have your death rails like, Chillfallen Baron, Harbinger of Winter. It's just good with everything. And now people are trying out Might of Menethil, getting some more freeze in there, and sadly we can't run the Colossal, but you can discover Cindergosa with Frost Strike, so be aware of that. You can still play that new Colossal without putting in your deck or playing Rainbow Deathlight. But again, I have to recommend Frost Deathlight. It's doing really well, and yeah, that location is just absolutely bonkers. And I gotta say, I love the green and blue. I guess it's got that like Pacific style to it, which I'm on the over in British Columbia, Vancouver. I can't help myself. And here's another really new deck, Imp Warlock, but it's got a bit of a spin. This is not the Curse Warlock, and Imp Warlock, at least Diamond through Legend, is looking like maybe it's performing a tiny bit better because of this card. Noffin's Impossible, the 2 mana Soul the Forest. You give all friendly demons and Murlocs Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 Imp Block, and that's just busted for 2 mana. It's just busted when you got Fiendish Circle, you got Wicked Shipment, you got Imp Swarm in here. All these ways of just going wide pretty reliably, and then you stick that on there, and then those are demons. You don't really care about the Murloc part so much, but Vile Library buffs it up, and you got Murlocula in here, which is a Murloc, so it also works with all of that. And yeah, you're just spamming imps, killing your opponent. A little bit weaker against a deck like Frost Deathlight that can freeze your board. It's why Curse probably will win out again at the end of the day, but I can't stand the Curse stuff, and I'm happy to see at least a more board-centric one thriving with the new spell. And the last kind of safe recommendation here is Pure Paladin, which just has one of the coolest cards ever, the Pure Raider in here. I don't know if this is like the most refined or best list out there. Doesn't run the hero card, similar to what we saw earlier with a lot of early game buffs. You got Order of the Court to get Light Ray, Countess, but Pure Raider is in there, and you don't have that. They're not trying that scam with like the 6 mana card to cheat out Countess, but we even have Goldwing in here because you're reliably going to have a mech with this whole package, and possibly, you know, you could give it Divine Shield with Seal of Blood and all of that, but overall, pretty much the same deck, but you got a really cool card in your Pure Raider that can just draw a bunch, and this deck, again, was doing really well before the mini set and got a couple new cool tools. Now we're going to go on to some Thaddius decks because people probably want to try out the big, bad legendary. The deck that looks maybe the most promising, I hope not, because it's a total scam. Savids has been playing this, people have been trying it, and it combines two of my favorite things in the world with Shadow Step and Bran Bronzebeard. Can they leave standard, please? But yes, this is all about basically a turn 6 OTK. Basically, what you want to do is you get your Shatter Shambler out. It makes your next Death Rattle minion cost 1 less, and it dies when you play it. You then play Bone Lord for 5 mana, and then after that, you play Thaddius, which costs 1 mana. You then play Baran, which is 1 mana, Naxxramas, which is 1 mana. You Shadow Step it, it goes to 7, so it goes back to 1 mana. You can do it 3 times, 3 Shadow Steps. That is 64 damage. There's a lot of different builds going around. There's sprint builds. There's nothing optimized quite yet, but if you want to give it a go, again, I don't recommend this for climbing really, but it's just a deck you can give a go. The overall win rate on like HS Replay so far for this deck is like 35-40% at best. It might not be good, but I wanted to throw out a couple of bonus suggestions, including another one that Tice was playing, Thaddius Warlock, again performing very poorly, like sub 45%, a little bit better than the Rogue deck, where you are trying again to abuse Thaddius with Amorphous Slime. This can discard an undead, which can be, you know, Flesh Behemoth, which can get Thaddius. You can also hit Rivendare and go for the whole Exodia Horseman strategy. It's a really greedy deck. You do have like Twisted Tether in there, which can buff things up and some removal and all of that. You can even res, you know, your Death Rattle, your big stuff and all that. It doesn't look all that great, but I gotta throw it out there if you want to try and have some fun. But again, do not recommend this to actually try and climb. It's more of just a fun suggestion, right? So be aware of that. The top 5 are the good ones. The bottom 2 are the memes. For Wild, we have even Shaman because it's really good. I keep facing bots at like top 500 legend playing this. Freaking bots, it's ridiculous. And yeah, it's the same deck as always, nothing new. You just spam totems. There's different builds out there that run 1 or 2 different cards, but overall you can't really go wrong as long as you're playing the Chisel on 2, you're playing Anchor Totem, you're copying things with like, you know, you're Splitting Axe, buffing it with Stormright, killing your opponent. It's a pretty straightforward deck that, again, bots are getting high legend with, so you probably will have some success with it. Same goes for Secret Mage. Again, really reliable, good deck. It's good against the combo decks because you have Explosive Runes, Objection, you cheat a bunch of mana, you cheat out a bunch of secrets, you cheat out a bunch of minions, you win the game. Really solid. Again, not much more to it than that. Discard Warlock, arguably the best deck in Wild without Tome Tampering. It's gotten to that point. People are taking in Ashen Elemental for ice blocks if you're seeing them. But at the end of the day, you got Malchezaar's Imp. You really want to try an Expired Merchant out Soul Barrage. This doesn't even run Hand of Gul'dan, that draw engine. Not using it. You want to kill with Soul Barrage. You can copy up a Fist of Jaraxxus as like another game plan, as it's a fell spell. And yeah, you Cataclysm, you do a bunch of damage, maybe you get a board swing, and if you played Malchezaar's Imp at the same time, you reload your hand. It's doing really well, and it's really not fun to face, so I wonder if something will happen about that. I'm not going to throw Pillager Rogue around here, by the way, because that deck, It feels like it needs a decent pilot, and also I just hate it. But Pillager Rogue, if you have a deck list for it, you might want to try it. Even Death Knight is another deck, nothing really new, but does really well against the board-based decks. That hero power, getting these guaranteed corpses on one are super solid. And yeah, it's just even Death Knight. If you want to get Death Knight wins and you don't want to play standard, this is definitely a good way to go. Really not much more to it than that. The infused cards really carry good weight. You really want to mulligan for like Priest of the Deceased, Murloccula, or your Battlefield Necromancer, the cards that really stand out. And of course, your finishers in Grave Strength and Lord Marrowgar. And well, I'm going to recommend Quest Mage. It is doing really well. I say delete this because this deck is toxic, but it punishes any slow deck so hard. And with the recent buff to Vast Wisdom, it fares way better against early game boards now. Like, not only is your quest completion a little bit more consistent, but you're getting good removal a lot of the time, sometimes mana cheating it. This buff, although not super relevant in standard, is doing quite some work in Wild Quest Mage, and the numbers are shooting up, so I gotta recommend it. And maybe you guys can boost the win rate up on it, so they finally take notice and delete the damn thing, because the parrot interaction, it's so toxic. But yes, I will continue to play it because I am a rather toxic individual. And the last meme recommendation I'll put out there, not really any numbers on if it's any good, it's probably not, but it's really fun. Flark's Boomzooka OTK Hunter, where basically you play Polkout, you can play Maxima Blastenheimer, have your War Rider die, and then you Boomzooka out the Horseman. It's got the quest package in here to keep you alive. You're using the quest to try and, you know, stay alive, but you can technically win with that, I guess, with all your removal, but you can kill off your war. If you can't, you know, Blastenheimer, like say you've drawn it, you can't do that. You can War Rider it out in like Hunter's Market. You can Urchin Spines it, kill it yourself if you need to. But yeah, killing your opponent with the Boomzooka, all three horsemen coming out and dying, it's pretty damn rad and pretty consistent. And the deck, I think, probably not good enough to climb with, but good enough to get some wins with, get the achievement for winning 4 times with the Horseman, and again, have some fun. So there you go, 10 decks you can climb, as well as, you know, some fun Thaddius and Horseman decks, because I gotta share them. Anyways, good luck on your climbs, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.